All right, for today's video, I wanted to start off with just a little spiritual thought, a little scripture I read the other day. Then I'll head into the workout part. I'll analyze my performance and then share whatever thoughts come to mind. The scripture is in Isaiah chapter 1, verses 11 to 13. I'm not going to read it, but I'm actually just going to read my thoughts on it. And you can go look it up in your own time. It says, "For what purpose do you sacrifice to God? To gain clout on Instagram, for new followers, for praise of the world? If it's for anything other than turning your heart to God, you're doing it wrong." So basically, these verses I read, these are my thoughts on them. But the verses themselves, they're talking to people who aren't of the covenant, people who aren't righteous, saying for what purpose, are you sacrificing? What are you doing this for? Basically saying the reason why we do it, at least in a righteous sense, is not to satisfy God's hunger for blood or anything like that. God says, "I'm full of the sacrifices of animals. The blood does not satisfy me." He said, basically saying if you give your heart to me as a sacrifice, that's what really matters. The reason why you sacrifice is not just to do it. It's not so other people can see you do it. It's so for God to know and for you to know that your heart is His. And when you have established that as the basis of your relationship, as the basis of your daily routine, that no matter what, you're going to give your heart to God, that's where miracles start to happen and blessings start to unfold. And I've seen that personally. A really short experience I want to share is that all this YouTube stuff, the Instagram, TikTok, whatever I'm doing, all this stuff of me sharing my thoughts has been something that God has put on my mind, but it's not the first thing that God wanted me to do. In a sense, I'm like Jonah in the Bible, where he got a calling and he ran away from it, and then God had to send him things, experiences that would make. Dude, I kid you not. I recorded a whole voiceover. I did it for the whole video, and I was gonna get ready to post it. I did it right before work yesterday. I go back later to look at it, and half of the recording is deleted. So I'm gonna do my best to pick up where I left off. I was talking about how I feel like God has given me a calling, really, to share my light, the light that He's given me, with the world. And I'm planning on doing it in many different ways, but one of the first things I ever felt in my heart that God wanted me to do was to pursue music and to learn how to create a more divine form of music. So more heavenly than what we have now. So obviously we have lots of talented artists and lots of good sounding music, but the content of the lyrics and the message of the music is not anywhere near where God would like it to be. And so one of my goals, hold on, I had the thought to just save the audio and make sure that it's saved again before I wasted time recording myself again. So basically, I feel like God has called me to produce holier music than what we currently have in our common pop music and stuff. That was the thought that made me kind of, wonder, what was God thinking, or how was I ever going to do that? Because I have no background in music, no knowledge of it. My only experience with music is just listening to it casually. And so I feel like I said, like Jonah, how he ran away from his calling. I also feel like I relate to Abraham when God told him he'd have a son in his old age. He fell on his face laughing, and his wife laughed as well. And so I feel like in that same way, I was kind of skeptical that God would be able to do anything like that. Not that God couldn't, but that I doubted myself more than I doubted anything else. And so I spent the last year recording content, producing videos and stuff to try and find a secondary way to accomplish the main objective, which is to bring people closer to God. What I came to find out is that it's not going as I planned it would. It's not bad. I'm still seeing some incremental growth, very minimal. But what I'm realizing too is that had I chosen to do what God wanted me to do at the beginning, I could have been a lot farther than I am right now. So over the Christmas break, right now it's January 13th or 12th or something like that, I decided over break that I was going to pursue music just to see where it went, because who knows if it doesn't just become the most important part of my life if I don't see a tremendous success from it. And I kid you not, as soon as I made that decision, I come back to the real world, go to my first shift at work, and I'm working with this guy that I've known for months, right? He's my coworker, and we get to talking, and it comes up in the conversation that he knows a little bit about music theory. He's written his own songs, and he's someone that would be perfect for me to talk to bounce ideas off of and to learn from. And so it's crazy how literally in the moment where you decide to give your heart to God And to do your sacrifice for the right reason, he gives you exactly what you need to build your life around. So I'm not planning on doing much more with music than just learning the simple music theory and stuff like that. Once I know music theory, I'll try and seek help of like someone who can help me learn how to create it electronically with some kind of computer program. But anyways, that's my story about how I decided to give my heart to God and how it worked out. And we'll see where it goes from here. But I always have thought about and said this to myself, that if God can make me a successful musical person, like a musical talent, that'll only prove how great God is, because without him, it would literally never be a possibility. But if God can make a musical artist out of me, he can make anything out of anyone. That's the whole point of this ordeal, I guess, this experience I'm about to put myself through. Randomly, I just have one thought to add. Well, I guess about the workout too. I've seen so many tremendous benefits from just basic strength training. I know like bodybuilders like to isolate their muscle groups and stuff, but I feel like the body's function is meant to work like biomechanically. It's meant to work as a compound, and so doing heavy powerlifting strength training movements will always be superior to me in my mind than bodybuilding. In bodybuilding, you're just enlarging the muscle fibers, you're making them swell up, and then when you do strength training, you're actually going to build more muscle fibers. It's a little bit different. And so I have, like, as far as bodybuilding goes, you might have a pump and like your muscles might look bigger than mine, but when you don't have a pump, your muscles will look smaller and mine will just stay the same the whole time. And I might get a slight pump, but it's not about a pump. It's more about like your muscles being more compact, being more dense and tight. But as the muscle gets more tissue, it'll be a bigger muscle, but the fibers will be tighter, if that makes sense. In the last little bit I have before the video ends, I had a thought, because I've been watching The Chosen, which is a show about Jesus Christ. If anyone wants to watch it, it's pretty good. The dialogue isn't like, it's not like most action movies or anything like that. Like, it's not like so exciting, but that's the whole point. It's like it's trying to realistically portray Jesus' life in an accurate way. But it always every episode culminates in a miracle. It's pretty good to see. The one thing I thought about is Judas Iscariot, the one who betrayed Jesus. It says in the Bible that he's a son of perdition. And in the LDS faith, in our tradition, like, we believe that a son of perdition is someone who will not receive forgiveness. But I was wondering, like, how is it, like, I'm not like saying I know the answer, but how is it that Judas does not receive forgiveness for betraying Jesus, yet almost every one of his disciples or his apostles did also betray him? So like Peter, the prophet Peter betrayed him. And so it was just a question on my mind. And then as I was thinking about what I've read in the Bible, and I was watching a TikTok, I just realized today, like, how I always knew how it says that Satan entered into Judas, and I always wondered if, like, that meant that he just, like evil desires entered into Judas, or did Satan actually possess Judas? And either way, it boils down to Judas's decision, because God places enmity between us and the devil. And so if we love God and hate the devil, then the devil will never possess us. He'll never have power over us. Meaning that Judas decided to hate God in that moment, and that's where Satan entered into his body. We know that Judas felt bad. If he was repentant or not, I have no idea, but he at least felt bad enough to kill himself, right? Or maybe that was part of the deal that he made with Satan. Maybe Satan told him that he would be allowed to have a part in betraying Jesus, and if he did so, then he would get to, like, leave this life or whatever. Maybe Judas hated his life. I have no idea, literally no idea. But it's just an interesting thought, and I wonder if there is an answer about if Judas can be forgiven or not. I really don't know, but that's just a thought to end the video. Hopefully this saves and I don't have to do this again, but I'll be posting more videos more often. My goal is to hopefully do, my goal is to do every single day, but let's see if I get 90% of the days of the year. That'd be a miracle, but we'll see how it goes.